Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So today's the 26th of January, Friday, 2024, and we're streaming live from Godrum Dweep in Goradam, Navadweep. So we'll have a kirtan, and then we'll hopefully today cover more of our subject matter than yesterday. I'll try and stay focused on track without too many diversions. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Banachari O Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari O Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Oh Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Oh Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Oh Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ramo Ramo Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai. Oh Jaya Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gaura Hari. Oh Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe. Jaya Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe Radhe, Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe Radhe. Oh Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shishi Guru Garanda Havika Giridhari Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai Satchinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai Surabhi Kunj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarashishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarashishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarashishimad Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarashishimad Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Shila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Saptam Goswami Shila Satchitananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jai Vaishnav Savavoma Jagannathas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Shila Baladev Vidyabhushan Gaudi Vedantaracharya Ki Jai Jai Shila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Treya Ki Jai Jai Shila Krishnas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shivata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Padasa Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai Jai Swarab Damodar Rai Ramananda Gaura Parsada Ki Jai Namacharya Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikha Hosi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Antadweep Mayapur Simantadweep Gautandweep Madhyadweep Kolajit Ritujit Janadweep Modandweep Rududweep Atmakanavadweep Dham Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dwarasavad Matmika Brajamandal Ki Jai Radha Kun Shama Kun Ganga Devi Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani Ki Jai Shrimati Yogamaya Punamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai Gopishwa Mahadev Ki Jai Sarva Vigna Vinashakari Shri Nrsingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai Bhakta Prabha Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Charidam ki jai, Chari Sampradaya ki jai, Chari Acharya ki jai, Akara Matraj Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai, Shri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananta Koda Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Vatla Vrinda ki jai, Gauda Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Aginatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tralaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Priya Surupe Dayata Surupe Prema Surupe Sahajabe Rupe Nijana Rupe Prabhueka Rupe Tatana Rupe Swavilasa Rupe Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunaivartino Kalo Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundaratu Tikatamba Sadipita Sada Hridare Kandare Spuratu Vasachinandanaha Yam Pravajantamana Petyam Apeti Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Taravo Binidustam Sarvabhutam Ridim Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanara Vindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Baradram Tato Mamanasti Katyana Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantikam. I first of all offer millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto our most beloved Nitya Leela Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And unto our dearmost Srila Namo Bhakti Vinodaya, Satchidananda Namane Gauda Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. And our most illustrious Rupanuga Guru Vargya and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhabevacha Patitanam Pavnibhyo Vaishnavena Namaha. So coming to our Jaiva Dharma study of Falshruti, and we're into the second set of shloks on page 830. Jadedvaita Jnana Hoya Chitta Upadaya Krishna Bhakti Chiratina Upaya Upaye. Such knowledge that is solely related to the duality of this dull material world is fit to be rejected. Yes, because we're not from this material world. So why should we accept anything from this material world? It'll just confuse us. Whereas transcendental knowledge of the divine duality within the spiritual world should be accepted forever within one's heart, both as the upaya, means of attainment, and the upayi, the goal worthy of attainment. So our spiritual quest, so to speak, is what is our desire to attain and what is that goal that is worthy of attainment. So one is like the abhideya and the other is like the prayojan, right? What do you want to attain? That's like the abhideya, and the actual attainment of the goal, that's the prayojan. So these two considerations should be foremost in our minds. Nothing to do with this material world. That's the material dharmas, etc. Dharmas. Jiva kabu jadanai, hari kabu nai, hari saha jiva chintya beda beda mai. This jiva is not, the jiva is not a product of dull matter, nor is he keval advaita, absolutely one in all ways with Sri Hari. He's in the middle. He's tatashta. We are marginal. We're manifested as marginal. We are Satchit Ananda. We are utterly pure. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhu Nai. The jiva is eternally pure, but we are covered, or we have this independence where we can choose to go one way or the other. but we're always separate from Krishna, even though we have the same constitution as Krishna, but not the same quantity. We are anuchit. Krishna is vibhuchit. So we're caught in a somewhat of, sometimes we might be thinking we're like God, and the next time we're thinking that I'm so fallen and so low. There's a middle place where the real jiva resides in perfect attraction to Krishna. If that attraction to Krishna has arisen in the heart, the jiva can easily situate himself perfectly in his identity, because very often our identities become like confusing for us. We're trying to figure out, who am I in this material world? But I'm not from this material world. I'm not of this material world. If we're trying to figure that out, my material identity, there's no end to it. It'll just become confusing ultimately. But if we try and figure out, what is my relationship with Krishna? What is my identity in relationship to Krishna? Jivera Surupoi Krishna Nityadas. This is going to satisfy supersedity the soul. The jiva is inconceivably different and not different from Hari. Yes, we have the same qualities, these 9 qualities: Gyan Swarup, Nata Swarup, Bhaktri Swarup, Mantri Swarup, these 9 different qualities. We can post them in the WhatsApp afterwards. This Nata Swarup, I am knowledgeable. Gyan Swarup, Nata Swarup, Gyan Swarup, I am in knowledge and I'm knowledgeable. And then Mantri Swarup, I, what's that one? I desire. Mantri Swarup. And then, what is it? Mantri Swarup? I can't remember them all. But there's 9. Paraswarup. That means I am completely effulgent, like Krishna is effulgent. So there's these 9 qualities: Gyan Swarup, Nata Swarup, Bhaktri Swarup. I am an enjoyer, right? And Krishna is an enjoyer. So I'm the same as Krishna, except I'm very small. That's the difference. So we get caught in the middle sometimes, not sure whether we're going to go in the understanding of my own personal Godhead, my own personal transcendence, and then suddenly become proud of that in some way. So it's a very fine place that we're actually praying to appreciate and attain. What is my pure spiritual consciousness? So these 9 similarities within us and within Krishna. Krishna is Ketragyan. He's the knower of all fields. And I'm also Ketragyan. I know this field. And Swadam, I can know something of my own nature, but I don't know the nature of Krishna. So we'll come to these. Deha kabo jiva nai, dara bhogya nai, dasya bhoga jiva Krishna prabhu bhakta hoy. The material body should never be considered to be the jiva, and this earth is not for the jiva to exploit and enjoy. This is the first stage. Like the first stage is Sharanagat, but this doesn't mean it's bhakti, does it? It just means I'm understanding who am I in the world, but it's not about that loving connection. Bhakti means that loving connection. That's a step up from just the understanding that I'm not this material body. That's the first stage, like chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. That's the first stage. And then there's complete Sharanagati. That's a more developed stage. But still it's not bhakti until that devotional enthusiasm comes in the heart strongly, that utsaha, wanting to connect with Krishna in loving service. Remember, there are 3 different ways of connecting. What's that? Bhagavat Abhilas? What's that? I've forgotten now. Not remembering all these things. Bhagavat Prapti Abhilas. Bhagavat Prapti Abhilas. Then that means accepting Krishna as the supreme. And then Anukul Prapti Abhilas, wanting to please Krishna favorably. Then the Sohard Abhilas, wanting to please Krishna as a friend. So these 3 considerations are there. That's on page 507 of our Jaiva Dharma, by the way.
So this desire to connect with Krishna in relationship with Krishna comes by the mercy of a devotee.
Say that again?
So this desire that one
Yes,
integrates, it comes by the desire, by the mercy of the devotee.
it can only come by that because our first connection with Krishna is through the devotee. It can't come any other way. And when we're talking about the devotee here, we're talking about that transcendently realized devotee, that devotee who's carrying transcendence in his heart. And I've given the example many times of wood. You know, the fire is latent in all wood. Every single piece of wood in existence has fire inside. It consumes the fire from the sky, from the sun. It's got fire running in it, but it can never be ignited until another piece of wood that's on fire touches it. So similarly, we have to have that sadhu sangha. That's why sadhu sangha is stressed. It's not, it is just the connection, but at the same time, we have to develop humility in sadhu sangha. We have to appreciate what is our disease. Our inherent disease is one of envy. We were envious and probably still are of Krishna's greatness because I'm not great and he's so great. So when envy comes, and with that envy comes pride. So by sadhu sangha, then that pride, that envy is confronted because sadhu means I'm respecting him as much higher than me. That means I'm not going to be envious towards him. If I'm envious towards the sadhu, then the sadhu can't give you anything. But if I'm thinking that that sadhu is on a higher platform and I'm on a lower platform in humility, then I can receive the gift from that sadhu. It can't come any, and then we've got to replicate that in relationship to Krishna also. I've got to be very understanding my anuchit, and Krishna is vibhuchit. So it runs through there. You understand? It's like a chain. Um, the Jiva's Swarup is Krishna Das. Yes, saying here now the same. And thus he is meant for Krishna's enjoyment, because his nature is to seek that pleasure from this material, because he's not getting the pleasure from transcendence. So all he's left with is to try and seek pleasure here. But it's all fueled by this ultimate, the seed of envy. That I think Krishna is great and I'm too afraid to actually acknowledge that. So everything becomes lost.
But Krishna doesn't only enjoy the gopis; he enjoys all kinds of devotees in a
Yes,
different way.
all those devotees who are not considering themselves to be greater than Krishna, and all those devotees who are devoted to Krishna. A devotee means, that's what we're discussing in our 8th chapter. Who is a real devotee? Who is a real madhyam? That one whose Ishtadev is Sri Krishna or Brajendranandan Sham Sundar.
So
When
I was saying, because we say, Shastra says that Krishna enjoys the many gopis,
yes,
but he actually enjoys all the devotees
yes, yes,
in
he's
different ways.
Bahushaka. His affection is many branched, but he especially enjoys the gopis. It's like when he's with the cowherd boys, the sakas, in the fields every single day. The sakas, they love him with every ounce of their being, and Krishna also loves them. But he sees a lake, and he suddenly is reminded of Krishna, or he hears a swan cooing, and he thinks, oh, that's Radharani's ankle bells. So he's more attracted to the potency of the affection that the gopis have. Everyone has, what is it? Uh, Prem, Sneha, Man, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, Mahabhav, Ruda, Adiruda. These are all stages of Prem. So the gopis, they have the highest stages of Prem for Krishna. So Krishna naturally, it's like if you've got a big family and you have one son amongst all of them who loves you more, he's always there. He's always that particular child. The parents will have a much greater relationship with him because his love is greater. So love is in gradations. Everyone loves, and no one would want to exchange their quality of love with another. So for each individual, it's perfect. But for the recipient of that love, the Vishaya, Krishna, there is a distinction. If Krishna is with Mother Yashoda, how much does Mother Yashoda love him? It's just phenomenal. But nevertheless, Krishna is anxious to leave her and go to the forest to play with his suckers. And then he's anxious to leave the suckers even at midday and go to Radhakunda. And then he's even later on anxious to leave all the other gopis and just go with Radhika because she is his direct Shakti. She's his direct potency. So there are gradations. Yes, he loves everybody. You understand? Clear. Um, Whereas Sri Krishna's Swarup is Prabhu, master, and Bhakta, enjoyer. So important, this verse. Jaiva dharma nahi ache deha dharma kata, nahi ache jiva gyan maya vata prata. This book, entitled Jaiva Dharma, neither discusses matters related to the dead material body, nor does it propound the Mayavad doctrine of the jiva's oneness with Brahm. Why should it? Why should Bhaktivinoda Thakur waste his energy giving knowledge of this world, anything about this world, or Nirvishesh Brahm? Both of these considerations are without value when we're considering the transcendental opportunity that we have to reach service to Sri Krishna. Jiva Nitya Dharma Bhakti Tahe Jadanai Shuddha Jiva Prema Seva Phala Payatai. The Jiva's Nitya Dharma is bhakti, devoid of material motivation. His Nitya Dharma is bhakti. We often say that verse, Savai Pumsam Baro Dharma, Yato Bhakti Er Hoitsije, Ahoitiki Apratihata, Ahoitiki, unmotivated, Apratihata, this uninterrupted. This is possible for the transcendental soul to connect with that conception. No motivation. That means the false ego, that I am better than you. As soon as the false ego is involved, there must be envy. There must be envy. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, I've said before, describes um, why we have a false ego. It's to shield us from the horror, the absolute horror of our total insignificance. We are so insignificant and small. We wouldn't be able to live if we didn't have a false ego. We've got to think, oh, I am this person. I live here. I do this. Don't you know my glories? And we spend our whole lives trying to build our own glories in the light of other people seeing them. Oh, look at me, look at me, look at me. This is called the false ego. And there's all sorts of stages in the false ego, from the very gross to the very subtle, etc. But it's still the false ego. It's still usurping my real condition as a servant of Krishna. But I don't want to face it, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of my own insignificance. Understand? It's hard.
It's hard.
Yes. But if we hear these truths and if we remember them and we work on them and we have to start somewhere. So we start in baby steps, at least not trying to flatter ourselves publicly, not trying to glorify ourselves. At least we can start from that platform.
But we're insignificant in relation to Krishna. But as a spirit soul, as in our Swarupa, we are not insignificant.
It first of all starts from that appreciation. And as soon as you realize your insignificance, then instantly, simultaneously, you realize your significance at the same time as a spiritual identity. You're insignificant as a material jiva. But the very second you appreciate your transcendental nature, you have so much significance because you have in your heart a particular rasa. Everyone does, that Krishna wants to enjoy. And as soon as that um, false ego is purified, then immediately that transcendental self will emerge. And then immediately Krishna will be attracted. And then immediately that loving relationship will happen.
I like how you said materially insignificant. That's
Yes, not spiritually.
yeah,
No, no. We are Satchit Ananda.
yeah.
That is who we are, transcendental Jivas.
Because in a material world, we want to be play as if we are the
Yes,
gods, but we
yes,
actually
yes. We do the opposite.
nothing.
This material world is called a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. We're trying to be like God in this material world. Everyone is. They're trying to be the Johnny Hotshot, the main person, right? The one in knowing everything, being everything, the center of it, like a little child. It starts from being a little child. The little child, 1 or 2 years old, is the complete center of attention. If a little toddler came in here, they wouldn't see anything else except themselves. They just wander around, breaking everything, not caring for anything, passing stool or urine if they felt like it. You know, that's a child. So we're supposed to mature. But this devotional process is definitely maturing on a very significant, deep level. We're trying to mature ourselves to the highest state of conception. It's a big thing that we've embarked on, you know? I was just reflecting today. We talk about it so easily. It's like we're not on the path of karma, we're not on the path of gyan, we're actually on the path of bhakti. This is phenomenal that we're actually on the path of bhakti. This is incredible. Manusyam nam sahasreshu, out of thousands and millions of men who have even realized the need to seek liberation in relationship to Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha. That is so rare. What to speak of those bhaktas who are hearing about Madhurya Dham, hearing about Brajendra Nandan in Sri Vrindavan. This is so rare. It's so special. We should celebrate. We should all internally celebrate our fortune that we have reached this very incredibly exalted state already. Now it's just a question of details in running it to the end. We've already come so far by some fortune, our Guru Vargya. Somehow or other, we've come to this place. It's incredibly special. I didn't read the last one, did I? Huh?
The last one, translation.
Jiva Nitya Dharma Bhakti Tahe Jadanai Shuddha Jiva Prema Seva Phala Padatai. The Jiva's Nitya Dharma is bhakti, devoid of material motivation. The Jiva, purified by seva, attains the fruit of that seva in the form of Krishna Prema. Why is it saying seva? I've said so many times, seva is the um, symptom of love. If you love your dog, you will serve him. If you love your house, you will serve it. If you love your motor car, you will put oil and petrol and change it. If you love your bicycle, you will serve it. In any relationship with even a material object, you will serve it. If you love your mother, you will want to serve her. You know she'll appreciate it. You know that will engender love, a loving mood. What to speak of service to Sri Radha and Krishna through Guru? We have the fortune, the opportunity to make this seva to a tangible individual, Guru. And if he's merciful, he will direct us. Oh, you please do this, you please do this, you please do this. This is complete mercy on behalf of the Guru, that he will give us these opportunities for seva. Even the most insignificant seva should be the greatest joy. And the disciple, the good disciple, is always thinking, how can I do more for Guru? My Gurudev used to say he never felt he was doing enough for his Guru. My Gurudev would have a festival 365 days of the year. Every day he would be celebrating it with devotees in some situation, some circumstances. But he never felt that he was doing enough. That mood has to be greed. If you think, yes, I'm doing enough, then where's the greed? Where's the enthusiasm? Right? There's complacency. Did the gopis ever think that they'd done enough? Ever. Never, they thought. Always trying to please Krishna more and more and more. Krishna's pleased. Oh, well, how can I please him even more? And Krishna's reciprocating in the same way with the gopis. He's also trying to please the gopis more and more. So it's a reciprocal exchange. This is real love. And it's escalating, getting higher and higher and higher, sweeter and phenomenal. We can't even conceive of this conception of divine love. We call it divine civilization. A civilized group of people are only concerned with how much can they love each other, how much can they do for each other, how much can they serve each other. This is the society of Vaishnavas. When we're thinking of how much can I serve, like Avadut Maharaj, he's thinking every day, how can I serve the devotees? And he's feeding devotees every single day, and then celebrating, giving Harikatha, doing kirtan 2 times a day, every single day, every single day. He never stops. This is exemplary. This is without envy. If you don't have that envious mentality, you can do like that. So it's purification of that seed of, and envy is synonymous with pride. As soon as pride in whatever little accomplishments I may be able to make materially are there, that's a symptom of envy, right? Because I'm better than you. So that pride will come. It's a journey. It's an incredible journey. It's an incredible journey. But we're in process. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada used to say, we're in the shower. We're getting clean. We're there. We're bathing. We're getting ourselves clean. We're on the road. So we should be heartened, encouraged. So the last thing we read was on page 168, the beautiful verse, Sanyabilasita Shunyam. So I won't go there again today. We want to move along. So page 169. And I'm just going to try to just read as much as we can to. We're discussing etiquette between Vaishnavas, and it's principled on love. A Kanishta doesn't have so much love developed. A Madhyam has more love developed, and Uttam is on the very topmost level of love and affection. That's what the symptoms are. So from the first paragraph on page 169, bhakti that is imbued with such characteristics is first found in the sudden practice of a Madhyam Vaishnava, and it extends up to the stages of bhav and prem. We cannot actually achieve the stage of prem in this body. Our body would explode. We can achieve the stage of bhav. Bhav we can come to. But prem is not in this birth. Prem could be in another birth. The only characteristic the bhakta of the kanishta, the only characteristic in the bhakta of the kanishta is that of service to the deity with faith. So he's serving the deity, but that's not really a directly reciprocal um, relationship in the same way as it is for the Madhyam. Such a person does not have the characteristic of Uttam Bhakti, namely Anyabhilasita Sunyam, freedom from ulterior desires, Jnana Karmadi Anabrita, freedom from the coverings of impersonal knowledge and fruitive action, and Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam, consummate endeavors to serve Krishna in a favorable mood. The Kanishta is not the embodiment of this Anyabhilasita Sunyam. This Anyabhilasita Sunyam is focused on describing what is Uttam Bhakti.
But it already Madhyama has some.
Yes, definitely a Madhyam. A Madhyam is where we are. We're hoping to be on that place. We should quickly come to the Madhyam platform. My Gurudev used to say like this, quickly come out of this Kanishta mood. The Kanishta is considered to have become a Madhyam Vaishnava and a genuine Bhakta when Bhakti with these symptoms manifests in his heart. Prior to this stage, he is a Prakrita Bhakta, which means that he is only a semblance of a Bhakta, Bhakti Abbas, or a semblance of a Vaishnava, Vaishnava Abbas. Abbas means like the sun is just rising. The word Krishnanushilanam refers to prem, love for Krishna, and it is qualified by the word anukulyena. This refers to those that are favorable to Krishna prem, namely friendship with the bhaktas, mercy towards the ignorant, and neglect of those who are inimical. These three items are also symptoms of a Madhyam Vaishnava. So this compassionate mood, if this compassionate mood for the fallen jivas, why do all the acharyas want the neophytes or the kanishtas to go out doing book distribution and things like this? Prasadam distribution is to get a mood of this compassion, to try to understand uh, destitute nature of the conditioned soul, which we just were. But as we're coming out to try and help them, and that helping alone is a symptom of bhakti by that compassionate nature. That will develop from there. That must be there. The second characteristic of a Madhyam Vaishnava is his friendship towards bhaktas, in whose hearts Shuddha Bhakti has appeared, and who are submissive to Bhagavan's will. Kanishta bhaktas are not Shuddha bhaktas, fully submissive to Bhagavan, and they do not offer respect or hospitality to Shuddha bhaktas. Therefore, Madhyam and Uttam bhaktas are the only suitable people with whom to develop intimate relationships. We know the example that's always given of a Kanishta. He's doing the puja in the temple, and a Vaishnava arrives, but he neglects the Vaishnava and continues doing the puja. He doesn't run to serve the living embodiment of the deity. He just continues to serve the deity. This is always the example we're given of a Kanishta. In 3 successive years, the Bhaktas of Kulinyagram asked Sriman Mahaprabhu, what is a Vaishnava and what are the symptoms by which he can be recognized? Sri Mahaprabhu replied by instructing them about Uttam, Madhyam and Kanishta Vaishnavas. Now, according to the characteristics of his description, all three of those classes, as he described them, meet the standards that I have defined for Madhyam and Uttam. Vaishnavas. None of them correspond to the Kanishta Bhaktas, who are only capable of worshipping the deity form because they do not utter Shuddha Krishna Nam. Their chanting is known as Chaya Namabas. Chaya Namabas refers to a semblance of the pure name, obscured by ignorance and anarthas, like the sun covered by clouds, which does not manifest its full brilliance. Generally, the Kanishtas are like smartas. They're performing their ritualistic activities, but they're not really considering that those rituals have a tangible meaning in relationship to Krishna's bhaktas. They're just running through like robots, just doing the duties, but without really, no feeling is attached to it. No mood is coming. This is like a kanishta. Mahaprabhu instructed Madhyam Adhikari Grihastha Vaishnavas to serve the 3 kinds of Vaishnavas, which he describes as follows. One from whose mouth Krishna Nam is heard even once, one from whose mouth Krishna Nam is heard constantly, and one whose very sight spontaneously evokes the chanting of Sri Krishna Nam. All these 3 types of Vaishnavas are worthy of service, but this is not true of one who only utters Nam Abas and not Shuddha Krishna Nam. Only Vaishnavas who utter Shuddha Nam are worthy of service. Very important. That Kanishta, he cannot chant Shuddha Nam because his heart, when the heart breaks, it opens, and like a seed will come out of the opening, like any seed you put in the ground. It's very hard, right? But when it cracks open, then the sprout comes out. So similarly with the heart, when the heart cracks, the seed of devotion will emerge. So the Kanishta, his heart hasn't cracked yet. It's still encased in the hard material considerations of matter. He hasn't broken that open yet. But when he understands his transcendental nature, when he's become even a little bit mature in understanding who he is in relationship to Krishna, then that seed will begin to crack, and then the sprout of potentially prem will manifest. We are instructed to serve the Vaishnavas in accordance with their respective levels of advancement. This is why he's describing all this, because the young boy at the beginning, Nityananda, he's asked, how can I respect the Vaishnavas? It's about etiquette, because respect is a symptom of love. It's part of love. Respect, if we're very respectful in all our relationships, that means I'm having a very sensitive, loving vision of all the personalities around me. So respect is there. The word maitri signifies association, conversation, and service. As soon as one sees a pure Vaishnava, one should receive him respectfully, converse with him, and fulfill his needs as far as one is able. One should serve him in all these ways, and one should never envy him. This enviousness. If someone comes and they are on a high level of realization, but we are immediately, well, I want to be better than him, or something like that. We become envious of him rather than joyful. This is that dormant reason for why we are even in this material world. Um, one should not criticize him even by accident or disrespect him, even if his appearance is unattractive or if he has some disease. It's not about the external situation, it's the internal. It's the heart, the transcendental heart of the jiva. The third characteristic of the Madhyam Vaishnava is that he bestows mercy on the ignorant. The word Balisha refers to people who are ignorant of spiritual truth, bewildered or foolish. It means materialistic people who have not received any genuine guidance in spiritual matters, but have not been contaminated by unauthorized doctrines such as Mayavad. There's a distinction. The Mayavads are something different. These are just ignorant fools, which are most of the populace. They are not envious of bhaktas and bhakti, but their mundane egoism and attachment prevents them from developing faith in Ishvara. Again, it's that block, that like cement wall of the egoism, wanting to perform, dance frantically on this stage of life, enacting all their various karmic desires. Learned scholars also belong to this category if they have not attained the highest fruit of study, which is to develop faith in Ishvara. So the Gyanis are also like Kanishtas if they haven't developed this sambandha with Ishvara. The Kanishta Adhikari Prakrita Bhakta is standing at the doorway to the temple of Bhakti, but because of ignorance in the principles of Sambandha Gyan, he has not yet attained Shuddha Bhakti. Such a person is also regarded as Balisha until he comes to the platform of Shuddha Bhakti. Again, I have to just remind us all to try to read this beautiful book, Bhakti Tattva Vivek. It describes exactly these topics in great detail. Um, he awakens taste when he becomes acquainted with the truth of Sambandha Gyan and awakens taste for Shuddha Harinam in the association of pure bhaktas, his ignorance will be dissipated and he will attain the status of a Madhyam Vaishnava. It is essential that a Madhyam Vaishnava should bestow his mercy upon all the above mentioned ignorant people. He should treat them as guests and should satisfy their needs as far as he is able. But that is not enough in itself. He should also act in such a way as to awaken their faith in Ananya Bhakti and their taste for Shuddhanam. In other words, it's not enough just to be nice and kind to people, be a generous hearted soul. That's not enough. That's like we have different faiths like Christian, etc. Even the Sikhs, they perform so many nice activities, feeding people and so on. This is not, this is good. It's a start of a sattvic mood. But without giving Krishna, then it's, I can remember when I was in Sydney, there's a place called King's Cross, which is where all the um, bums, the hobos, are the poor people, the beggars. And the Christians would go there at Christmas time and give them a cup of coffee, a meat pie, and a cigarette. In complete ignorance, right? Isn't it? That's what they would do in Australia. But the devotees would go and give them a book. Look, my dear friend, here's how you can get out of your terrible situation. What a difference. One is being kind, or they're thinking they're being kind, but being kind in ignorance, and the other is being kind, generous hearted in knowledge. He should give them Ananya Bhakti. He should also act in such a way as to awaken their faith in Ananya Bhakti and their taste for Shuddha Nam. That is the real meaning of mercy. The ignorant may be victimized by bad association and may fall down at any time because they lack expertise in Shastra. Very weak if we don't have some expertise in Shastra. The Madhyam Vaishnava should always protect such susceptible people from bad association. He should mercifully give them his association and gradually instruct them in spiritual matters and in the glories of Shuddhanam. So, in any condition of any mature devotee, he should act like a guru. It's saying, there's a beautiful verse, I can't remember it now, um, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that all should become like guru. Everyone should become like guru. In whichever, it doesn't mean you have to sit on a high seat and expect lots of garlands and all pranami and everything. It means you should just be in a position of responsibility to try to encourage a conditioned soul across the line of ignorance. That's what it actually means. At the end, that's what guru means in that capacity. I can't remember that verse. A diseased person must be under the care of a physician because he cannot cure himself. Just as one should pardon the anger of a diseased person, one should also excuse the improper behavior of the ignorant, just like a child. Child acts so obnoxiously sometimes, but the mature adult will forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive, knowing he's a child. You see? So if you know they're ignorant, forgive. This attitude is known as mercy. The ignorant have many misconceptions, such as faith in karmakand, occasional inclination towards gyan, worshipping the deity with ulterior motive, faith in yoga, indifference towards the association of pure Vaishnavas, attachment to Varnashram, and many other things. Wow, he's just encapsulated all in a single sentence. However, the Kanishta Adhikari can quickly become a Madhyam Adhikari when these misconceptions are dispelled by good association, mercy, and good instructions. That's all we need, Sadhu Sangha. When such people begin to worship the deity of Bhagavan, it may be understood that they have laid the foundation of all auspiciousness. Of this there is no doubt. They do not have the defect of adhering to false doctrines, and for this reason they have a scent of true Shraddha. Their deity worship is not like that of the Mayavadis, who do not have even a trace of Shraddha for the deity, and who are offenders at the lotus feet of Bhagavan. We see here in Bengal, Durga Puja is there, and they have so many murtis all over, beautiful murtis. And as soon as Durga Puja is finished, they carry them in big procession to the Ganga and throw them away. Always. You go down to the Ganga in any place and you see all these broken deities there. They chuck them away. It was never really the deity that they were worshipping. They're just worshipping it for some fruitive desire, from fruitive result. um, where are we up to? However, the Kanishta Adhikari becomes quickly muddy. Oh, yeah. When such people begin, yes, they do not have the defect of adhering to false. Their deity worship is not like that. Yes, they have a trace of Shraddha. That is why the words Shraddhaya ihate, he worships with faith, have been used in the shloka 11.247 that describe the Kanishta Bhakta. That is why the words Shraddhaya ihate, he worships with faith, have been used in the shloka that describes the Kanishta Bhakta. I don't understand that.
Yeah, Kanishta Bhakta, he has faith unlike these Mayavadis.
Okay, very good, yes. He has faith unlike the Mayavadis. Perfect. Thank you. The philosophical outlook. Oh, I was going to tell you something. I've just remembered that we passed by the other day how Krishna is referenced as being the elder brother of the of Gada. So it says here, Sri Krishna, the elder brother of Gada. So who is Gada? Vasudeva had 16 wives. Rohini was one of them, and Baladev comes from there. One of his wives also is Devaki, and Devaki's sister is also a wife of Vasudeva. Her name is Devaki Sita. and she has a son called Gada, who is younger than Krishna. And that son was a powerful son, so he's known. And so Krishna is sometimes called the elder brother of Gada. He's identified with that son. So that son is the son of Devaki Sita, who is another wife of Vasudeva. That's who the Gada is. Just information there. The philosophical outlook lodged in the heart of Mayavadis and proponents of other similar doctrines is that Bhagavan has no form and that the deity which is worshipped is simply an imaginary icon. Under such circumstances, how can there be any faith in the deity? As a result, there is a significant difference between deity worship of Mayavadis and that of even the most neophyte Vaishnavas. Well, we see a Vaishnava doesn't throw his takoji in the Ganga after he thinks he's got some result. But you see in Durga Puja, these deities look absolutely beautiful. They're huge, they take up a whole room, and they're really splendid, beautifully decorated and everything. And then they inspire faith for a little while, and then the worshippers think that they're going to get the result of their prayers. Then they just discard them. That's not deity worship. Kanista Adhikari Vaishnavas worship the deity with faith, knowing that Bhagavan possesses personal form and attributes. Yes, Mayavadis, however, believe that Bhagavan has no form or attributes, and that the deity is therefore imaginary and temporary. Neophytes are not guilty of the offense of Mayavad, and that is why they are accepted as Prakrita Vaishnavas, materialistic devotees. So see the distinction here between Mayavads and neophytes, and Kanishtas rather, even though they do not possess any other Vaishnava characteristics. This is where their Vaishnavism is found. On the strength of this one quality, and by the mercy of sadhus, they will certainly gradually be elevated. Madhyam Adhikari Vaishnavas must be genuinely merciful towards such people, and if they are, the neophyte bhakta's worship of the deity and his chanting of Harinam will quickly rise from the Abbas stage to the purely transcendental stage. The Madhyam Vaishnava's fourth characteristic is neglect towards those who are inimical. Here we must define enmity and describe its different types. Dvesh, enmity, is a particular attitude which is also known as matsarata, envy, and which is exactly the opposite of love. Ishvara is the only object of love, and Dvesh is the attitude that is directly opposite to love for him. There are 5 different types of Dvesh. This is really powerful teaching. 1. Absence of faith in Ishvara. 2. The belief that Ishvara is nothing more than a natural potency that brings about the results of all action. In other words, Kamakund. 3. The belief that Ishvara has no particular form. 4. The belief that the jivas are not eternally subordinate to Ishvara. And 5. The absence of mercy. So these 5 are really important to appreciate. Who is not even a Kanishta? These are people who are opposed to the worship of Krishna. And perhaps we have been all of these types of people. But by hearing, by sadhu sangha, how much have we become purified? We can consider like this. 30, 40 years ago, how much were we like this, not knowing who was God, not even wanting to know who was God? So see in our own personal examples how much sadhu sangha has affected our consciousnesses. And again, celebrate that, where we have come from. It's always helpful because many times the devotee, because we're climbing such a high mountain, that we're not considering how far we've actually come. So we should be encouraged to how far we have come. We're actually sitting here patiently hearing Jaiva Dharma in Godrum Dweep, which is pretty amazing. And the listeners on the line, they're also receiving the same channel of enthusiasm from Godrum Dweep. So we're all getting there. So the 6 o'clock bell just went, but we can finish one more paragraph. Individuals whose hearts are contaminated by these inimical attitudes are absolutely bereft of Shuddha Bhakti. They do not even have Prakrita Bhakti, the rudimentary devotion that is the doorway to Shuddha Bhakti, and which is represented by the neophyte bhakta's worship of the deity, not even Kanishta. The 5 types of enmity are found to coexist with attachment to material sense enjoyment. Sometimes the 3rd and 4th types of enmity lead to such an extreme form of asceticism or aversion towards the world that it culminates in self-annihilation. That 3rd and 4th is the belief that Ishvara has no particular form, and the belief that the jivas are not eternally subordinate to Ishvara. In other words, consumed by envy. This is seen in the lives of Mayavad sannyasis. How should Shuddha Bhaktas behave towards such inimical people? It is their duty to avoid them. The word upeksha, neglect, does not imply that one should abandon all social dealings that are normal between human beings, nor does it mean that one should fail to alleviate an inimical person's difficulty or deprivation if he falls into distress. I'll read this tomorrow. We'll stop here. We'll conclude here. But this becomes very um, engrossing, very fascinating. Okay, so we'll keep going. Jaiva Dharma ki jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. It's very thick. It's actually very dense, you know. I'm trying to read it quickly, but we can't just gloss it at the same time. And I think when we've ever had an experience of reading it like this, then when you read any other book, you'll also apply the same methodical examination from, studying it this way. Then when you pick up another book, you won't just quickly, because every sentence generally has some purport and meaning. And it's not, the goal to quickly finish lots of books. It's the goal to get realization of just even a few scriptures. So we're doing our best. Jai Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Jai Vedama ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Vedama ki jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Gaur Premanande, Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha. Kripa Sindhaveva cha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnave Namo Namaha.